Now, let's go around the league. You played for Andy Reid. They want Andy Reid out in Philly. He's lost these last 2 games, including at home to the Arizona Cardinals. Do you think he ought to be fired?
Absolutely not. If anybody deserves a second or third or fourth chance, it's Andy Reid. I'm a little bit biased because I really respect the guy. I really like what he's done. But this is his first year with all this talent, all these different egos, all these guys who have these big contracts. But then the guys who are with the Eagles, like the Deshaun Jacksons, they didn't get the contracts that they see these outsiders get. So you have to deal with that kind of ego. So I feel after a year of everybody being together and then making another offseason moves, he really have success with this much talent. And you talk about what he's done in the past. You can't tell me 1 or 2 bad seasons is going to warrant firing a guy who's taken the team to the Super Bowl, who's had them winning the division year in and year out. He's a very good coach. But one decision I do think they need to make if they keep Andy Reid is to just X the whole Juan Castillo being the defensive coordinator experiment. Not fire him, move him back to offensive line coach where he's your biggest asset as a coach, and bring in a reputable defensive coordinator.
They've blown 5 games in the fourth quarter that they could have won. You blame that on Castillo?
No, I would never blame 5-game losses in the fourth quarter, and I believe that's history, if I'm not mistaken, on one person. Yeah, there's some bad calls being played, but you know what? Players are going to have to play. Sometimes players have to rise above coaching. You don't want to say that too much because you're taking a shot at the coach, but you have to make the tackles. If the wide 9 isn't working, you know what? Inch a little closer and stop the run. You're a player. You have a mind. You understand what's working, what's not. You can make adjustments on the field.
What does it say about the Ravens? They sweep the Steelers. They beat the Texans. They lose at Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Seattle.
It says the NFL is the greatest league in sports, and it doesn't matter. Any given Sunday is one of the truest cliches, but you're absolutely right. If you want to just talk about the Ravens, it shows how streaky they are.
Can they be, the next time they go on the road against a weak opponent, should that opponent be the favorite?
No, I don't think they should be the favorite. I still think Baltimore is an elite team. Again, it's week by week, any given Sunday. But when you talk about the Ravens and you talk about all those Hall of Famers, you talk about Harbaugh, that's still a good unit. And I would even take it a step further and say some of these losses is good for them. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to go in there respecting every single team, knowing that, you know what, we've lost to the worst teams and we've beat the best, so we better bring our A game every single week. And when you have that much talent with that mentality, it could turn out to be a good thing.
Now, I know you're going to ace this test, Andy, because you went to Rice. If the playoffs started today, who in the AFC would have home field advantage?
Let me say Texans.
Go to the end of the class. Can you believe that?
That's awesome. And I still think it's going to stay that way with Liner. It's just going to be a little more interesting. And you know, I think I like that. I don't like Matt Schaub getting injured. I like Matt Schaub as a person, as a player. But now it's really going to make this race interesting. It got to the point where it was just boring. They were just blowing teams out by the third quarter. I was asking the other hosts to switch the game so we could watch a more interesting game. So now the season's going to be a little more interesting.